Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today I want to talk to you about the 15 most played games that I have played since I've started logging them in BGStats. Now that's been like the last 4 or 5 years. So before that, I played a pile of games. Catan would be up there, Risk would be up there, all that. So these are not in there. This is just since I've been logging, so there will be some classics that are not in there. So without further ado, and more backstory, let's get into number 15. All right, so number 15 is a Stonemaier game. Now I'm going to look up there because that's what they are. You don't know that's what I'm looking at, but that's what I'm looking at. And this is Viticulture. This is the Essential Edition. I've never played the regular one, which I wish I would have because it's got like this cool like cheese making. This sounds really fun. Apparently it's not because it's not in the Essential Edition. But this is a worker placement game where you are basically trying to run a vineyard to produce wine, sell wine to different customers, age wine, mix wines together, and all that kind of thing. So simple, go to a spot, do some things. But the interesting thing about this one is it incorporates the grande worker, which is a worker that will let me go to a spot where somebody else already is. So I'm never really locked out of a space. So if I really need to do that action, I got my big guy, throw him down there. I guess I'll do that action. It's a super fun game. It's clean. It's easy to teach. It's easy to play, which is probably why it's on this list. I believe it can play 6. I would never play it at 6, but it plays a lot of people. But most of the time, if you're going to, as you walk through this list with me, you're going to see that ease of teach and ease to play is what's going to make it get played a lot, which doesn't make it necessarily my favorite games, but how it's going to hit this list. So my number 15, most played game of all time, Viticulture. All right, so my number 14 most played game of all time is the Shipwreck Arcana. And this is going to fall into another category that makes a game easy to get played a lot, and that's cooperative. Now, I'm not a huge cooperative fan, but because they're easy to teach and easy to play and easy to get on the table, they get played more. So in this, and this is a cooperative deduction game where players are going to be drawing a couple tokens out of a bag. Let me see if I can find a good picture here. This is what the board looks like when it's set up. But you're going to be drawing a couple of these black tokens out of a bag. Okay, you're going to draw 2. Then you're going to place one on one of these cards. It's going to be like a mathematical equation or formula or some kind of problem that's going to help narrow down what your other number is. So maybe the card will say, if the sum of your 2 fates, which are the tiles, is even, put one of them here. So that's going to narrow down like the total of your 2 tiles cannot be odd. So people are going to figure that out. Then once people think what they know, they're going to tell you to take some of these tiles, move them up if they're still in the running, or flip them over, however you want to do it. So they know that my numbers will not be 1, 3, or 5, whatever, depending on the math. And then they can either guess if they get it right. We move this green thing around, which is how we win. If we get it wrong, this red moves around. That's how we lose. Or do nothing. But if too many of these get filled up with too many black tokens, that can also speed the red thing along. Simple cooperative game where you're just trying to do some numbers and guess correctly. Gorgeous art, gorgeous production, and it's a fantastic game. So I have no complaints. So my number 14 is Shipwreck Arcana. And that was played, I think, the same amount of time as Viticulture. Yeah, 13 times. So there we go. All right, my number 13 is a game that we've had forever. It got sent to me from the publisher. I broke some embargo rules. Sorry about that. And it is Parks. And this is a game about you're going hiking through these different parks. And you're basically trying to collect different resources by visiting these locations. Let me see if I can find a good example here. Those are really nice. So you're going to be, that's terrible. Let's see. So you're going to be walking through these paths here. And if I stop on this one, I get to collect 2 suns. And I'm basically going to be using those suns and resources that I get to turn them in to score these parks that are all worth points. And the points are right down there on the bottom. There's a little more to it than that, but that's the game. And this is also one of those things where you can move as far forward as you want, can never go backwards, and whoever's in the back gets to then take the next turn. So there could be times where if someone jumps far ahead, you can take a whole bunch of turns. This is another game that's gorgeous to look at. It's easy to teach. It's easy to play. It plays up to 5, which is nice when you're trying to play with people who don't play a ton of games. They like to do those in big groups sometimes. So when you can get a lot more people playing a game, it also helps to get out on the table. So my number 13, which I've played 14 times, is Parks. So remember I said cooperative games were really easy to teach and play? Well, here's another one. So number, what is this, 12? Is that what this is? 12. Yes, my number 12 is Marvel United. And this is just a simple cooperative game where you're taking on the role of Marvel superheroes and you're going against a Marvel baddie. Tons of different baddies, tons of different characters. You can just get the base box and play forever, but there's a bajillion expansions as well. And effectively, what you're trying to do is, let me see if I can find a good example, is you're going to be moving around this board, going to the different locations, trying to defeat henchmen that are there, clear off thugs, rescue civilians, to get enough thugs rescued, enough civilians rescued, so you can eventually start beating down the baddie and killing them before they meet their win condition. It has a really cool card play mechanism, which you can kind of see up here, where if this was my card, I get to use the ability that of my card plus the icon plus all the icons on the card before me. So you're directly working with the player to your right. So it's more cooperative than some games because what the person in front of you really does matter because you get to use it as well. And it's a welcoming theme. You can play a whole game in 30 minutes, including teach. It's pretty quick because you're either going to die or you're going to win pretty quickly. And it's just a ton of fun. And with all the variety, and some people are into that variety where they never want to play the same game twice. This is definitely one if you have enough characters that you can do that with. So my number 12, played it 14 times, Marvel United. So my number 11 is I'm surprised it's on this list because this one's a little bit more involved. And this is Dice Forge. Now, this one was played, I have to keep going back to my list, 14 times as well. And this is a game where you're effectively crafting dice. I know that sounds like a weird term, but you're basically changing out the faces of dice. And you're going to be doing that by drafting these cards. So these are the different faces of the dice. They pop off of the dice, and then as you're rolling them, they're going to produce resources for you. But you're going to be, on your turn, you're going to roll the dice, collect some resources, and everybody's always rolling. So even if it's not my turn, I'm always rolling dice. So you're always collecting resources all the time. Points, gold, red fire gems, moon gems. I think the criteria are the resources. And then on your turn, you're either going to go to a location, which are these spots here, and pay the resources to buy one of these cards, which either give you dice faces, points, special abilities, or you're going to buy some die faces, and you're going to customize your dice. There's tons of different ways you can do that. Like you're going to pop them off. See, there's a face. You're going to pop it off, and every time you roll, it's going to be better. It's super. This one's lightning quick too, and I think it plays 4 or 5. And you can play a full game of this in probably 20 minutes. I mean, it is fast. So again, this is an easy game to teach, easy game to play, and you're always doing something on everybody's turn, which is another reason that it's good to play with a lot, but play a lot with people because you're always playing. You're always doing something. So my number, whatever this is, 11, Dice Forge, played it 14 times. We're into the top 10, and this game, I'm actually surprised we've played this game a ton, but again, it's a cooperative game-ish, gorgeous, easy to play, easy to teach, and this is Celestia. I have played this 14 times as well. A lot of these games I played 14 times. And what you're doing in this is each round, someone's going to be piloting this cool little airship here. And you're going to be rolling some dice, depending on how far you are along on the island. It's how many dice you're going to roll. Then what happens is whoever's the captain, whatever symbols they roll, there might be like clouds, lightning, anchors, whatever. Whatever symbols they roll, they have to then, everyone else needs to decide if they have the cards in their hand to play to match those symbols. If they do, then they play them and the boat keeps moving and everybody who's still in there keeps going. If you don't think they do, then you can jump out off the island and collect a card, which is worth points. This is a race to 50 points. But if you stay in and they don't have the cards, the ship crashes. Everybody who's still on the ship gets nothing. Play passes to the left. They become the new captain. You do it all again. There are a few expansions that you can play that like let you play cards on other people's turns more effectively. Like you can do that in the base game, but there's some nicer, actually helpful cards. And you're just moving around, collecting cards, trying to be the first player to get, I think, 50 points. It's super fun. It's super stressful when you start to get to those islands and you're rolling 4 dice and you roll 4 yellows and you have 3 cards in your hand. Yeah, it gets a little tricky, but it's fantastic. We've played it a ton. It looks gorgeous. It's easy to teach. Some of the rules are a little fiddly, so this one, you have to play it maybe a couple times to really get the grasp of it, but even if not, it's super fun. So my number 10 with 14 plays, Celestia. Number 9. Now, this is probably, I don't know, maybe the silliest game on the list, and that's Bonanza. And I've played this game, let's check it out, 14 times as well. And in Bonanza, you're basically planting beans. That's the game. You're going to have these weird, funky-looking cards that are different types of beans, and you're going to be planting them. If you can get, in this case, if I could get 2 black-eyed beans in my field, I can harvest them, get a coin. You flip the card over, it's worth a point. Now, that's easy, but you can only ever have 2 beans in my version, 2 fields planted, and each field has to have the same kind of bean. The trick here is, in your hand of cards, which are dealt randomly, you're going to be playing from the right in the order that you either picked them up or you're dealt. However, the random order that you picked them up is how they're going to stay in. So whatever's coming up, you have to plant 1. You may plant 2. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to plant the proper beans to work with your hands. And then after all that is done, you're going to flip a couple cards and you can do some trading. You can trade beans with other people to get some of those cards out of your hand to kind of, that's the only way you can move stuff that's not in your front out. So I really don't want to play this. I could trade it to somebody. They can outtake another bean. Anything they take, they have to plant. If no one wants the beans that are for sale, I have to plant them. Could cause some problems. And it's just that. You're going to play through the deck, I think, 3 times. And whoever has planted the most and harvested the most beans wins the game. It's super silly. It's, again, easy to teach. It looks pretty bad, so I'm surprised people like it. But it's a riot, and you never want to play it just once. You're always playing it 2-3 times because it's just dumb fun. And that's probably why I play it so much. So my number 9 with 14 plays, Bonanza. So number 8, we're going back, not quite vintage, because this is just barely older than Bonanza, 1989. This is Electronic Mall Madness. Now this game is, I don't know what it is about this game, but I love it. I am obsessed with it. And I've played this game 15 times. And this game is pretty basic. It's you're moving around this mall. It's effectively a roll and move, but instead of rolling, this little machine here in the middle is going to tell which player how many spaces they can move. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to visit these different stores to be the first player, I think, to buy like 5 or 6 different things. You go in from your car, you go into the store, and you go out. And you have to be the first player out. That sounds easy, but you have a limited amount of money. Occasionally, you have to go to the ATM, get money out. Sometimes you have to go to visit the bathroom. Sometimes you have to go get some pizza. Sometimes you leave your lights on. You have to go back out. So you're just moving around, trying to be as efficient as you can with your money, buying stuff that's on sale, buying stuff that's close, because it's a race to be the first player, to get in, get what you need, and get out. It's super fun. It's not even really that great of a game. I don't know why I love it. It's satisfying to play. It's fun. It's silly. And I never got to play it as a kid because the boys didn't play this game for some reason. They're missing out. That's all I got to say. So with 15 plays, my number 8 is Electronic Mall Madness. Number 7, Push Your Luck bag building game. Played this one 16 times, and that is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the channel. You're going to be putting these chits in these bags that you're going to be acquiring throughout the game, and you're trying to pull them out of your bag to put them in your cauldron to try to get as far as you can, score as many points, and get as much buying power you can to get more chips. And you're just trying to be to get the most points. If you pull out too many white chips, you bust, and you've lost all your progress through the round. That's it. We have all the expansions. We have everything for this game. It's so good, so fun, and everybody that we played it with loves it. It's easy to teach. Looks good on the table. The pressure luck is always fun, and it plays out to 5 players, which is also nice. And everybody's playing at the same time. Another bonus. So at I can't remember the 16 plays. My number 7 most played game of all time, the Quacks from Quedlinburg. Number 6, we are actually kicking it old school. This is from 1975. And this is the Gambler, or just Gambler. I played this 16 times. And this is a roll and move game, but it has some nice gimmicks to it, which I love a gimmick. In this one, you're rolling around trying to be the first player to get to $1,000. And every so often, you're going to hit a lottery, which is going to be this cool rolling dice in this awesome shaker thing. And you're going to be betting on what you think is going to come up. So if there's a pair, you can put a token here. If it comes up, you get $200. If it's a straight, it comes up, you get $450. If this one is the highest die, I believe, I haven't played it for a minute, but if this is the highest die, you get $300. This one, $300. It's just a super fun game. There's betting on horses, which is basically you get a card, says your horse number 5, someone rolls a die. If horse number 5 shows up, you get some money. Occasionally you have to throw a party and you lose some money, but it's just racing to be the first player to get a pile of money. $1,000. This is what it looks like in all of its glory. It's fantastic, and I love everything about this game. Everybody's familiar with these games. Roll and move, land in the space, do what it says. This one is that, but shaking that sweepstakes die maraca thing is a ton of fun, and everybody we played it with has a great time. Again, not a great game, but fun. A game can be fun and not be great. That's allowed. So number 6 with 16 plays, Gambler. My number 5 is a great game, and this is a game called Camel Up. We have this old encrusted edition here, and we have played this 19 times. There is a new edition that's more easily available. And in this, you are basically betting on these camels that are racing. Let me see if I can find a picture. And you're basically rolling dice out of this cool pyramid right here. It's going to determine which camel moves and how far. Sometimes they jump on other camels' backs and they move, and you're betting on which camel is going to win the round, which means when all the dice are gone, which camel is going to win the entire race, which is across the finish line, which one's going to lose, come in last on the entire race. And there's a few ways of sabotage. We have an expansion as well that can take pictures and all that stuff. And you're just trying to have the most money at the end of the game. This one with the expansion can play 10 players, which I wouldn't recommend as too many, but we've played it at 6 and 7, which is fantastic. It's everybody, your turn is like a second. You just take a tile or roll a die. That's basically it. And it's a ton of fun. It's tense trying to watch what these stupid camels are going to do. And I love everything about this game. Is it probably the greatest game in the world? No. But again, like I just said with Gambler, it can be fun without being great. And this one is good. I don't think it's a great game, but it's a good game. Plays a lot, and it's a ton of fun. So with 19 plays, I don't know if I said that earlier, my number 5 is Camel Up. Number 4 is a small card game, which is surprising that I've played it this much. Well, or maybe not. Card game should be played a ton, but it is number 4. I might have said 5. Number 4 is Sea Salt and Paper with 23 plays. And this is a game, it's effectively just a little draw a card, play a card game, sort of. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get these sets of cards. This one's really hard to explain. But there are a couple types of cards that if you can play them out on the table, it'll give you a special power action, and they'll be worth a point. But then there are some cards that you're trying to collect sets of in your hand. And once you reach a certain point threshold, like these 2 penguins are worth 3 points. Once you reach this certain point threshold, you can either say last chance, everybody else gets a chance to take one more turn to try to beat your score, or you can say stop. Whatever your score is, you get those points. Whatever everybody else's score is, they get those points. And you're just trying to end the game with the most points. There's an instant win condition with these mermaids. If you can get 4 of them, you win the game. There's a little expansion that we have that I haven't reviewed yet, but it adds like 5 more cards. It's stupid fun. Like, I'm still not even sure if it is necessarily a great game, but it plays super fun. It has awesome like origami artwork on all the cards. Every card has different art, except for I think there's some overlap. Like the penguins are all the same, but it's amazing. It amazingly produces from Bruno Catala. He makes killer games. This one's a little funky to teach because the scoring is weird, but once you can get through that, like after everyone understands the scoring and how the last chance and the stop works and the duos and what you hold in your hand, once you get past that, it's a breeze. You never forget it. It feels super familiar, super like you've been playing it forever. And it's a ton of fun. Like, we have a video on our channel. You can go check it out because my description was probably pretty terrible, but who cares? I'm just telling you about how many games I played. And that is Sea Salt and Paper, number 4, 23 plays. It's a lot of plays. My number 3 is a solo-only game. And I've played this a mess of times because I was sitting at my desk when I was working, waiting on, like in a meeting, I'd be playing this game. Played it 24 times, which is a lot. That is a lot, considering it's my 3rd highest played game. 24, A Gentle Rain. And this is a little game about, basically you're playing these tiles and you're trying to make matching flowers. So look right here. See this section here? They have 4 matching flowers. If you can get a matching flower like this, you get to put that flower in the circle. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get all of these tokens out on the board before you run out of tiles. And then depending on how many tiles you have left and you get all the tokens out, that's how many points you're going to score. So it's kind of like a race against your own personal best score. That's the whole game. You draw a tile and you play it down into this grid. This is like the perfect thing, but it's not always going to look like that. And then you're just trying to score as many points as you can, as quickly as you can. You want to get all your flowers down with tiles left. If you can't do that, then you lose. If you end without tiles and you still have tokens left, you lose the game. It's super zen. It's gorgeous. It's easy to play. It's a ton of fun. Every time I play it, I want to beat my score. I want to do better. And yeah, I just have a good time playing this. And yeah, it's fun. I can't talk about other people playing it because they haven't. It's just a solo game. But I love it. So I played it a ton with 24 plays. My number 3, A Gentle Rain. My number 2 is actually a legacy game that I'm on my 3rd campaign of. 35 plays right now of this, and it is Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated. This game is incredible. It's Clank. If you've played Clank, that's a deck building game where you're getting these cards and you're moving around this board, trying to retrieve artifacts from the board. You start above ground, you're going down below ground, getting an artifact, angering a dragon, and then trying to get back above ground before you die. If you can get all the way out, you score some extra points, but as long as you get above ground, you can score all your cards, artifacts, anything else that you found on your journey. Now, this game is cool because as the game progresses, you can see this board here. It's going to start getting stickers all over it. This is not a spoiler because this is how the game starts. You're going to start getting stickers down here. There's a map on the other side that's going to progress as the game goes. It's going to be different story elements. You're going to unlock cards. It's going to be these additional people that are going to come along to help you or hurt you. Who knows? And you're going to keep your cards throughout from game to game. You're going to any upgrades you've gotten, you're going to keep those from game to game. And it's just a ton of fun. I think each campaign is like 11 or 12 games. They're all like they feel pretty similar, but you can make different decisions to unlock different cards and all that kind of thing. So again, but most people are probably not going to play this more than one. You get to name your cities, which is silly and fun. And this is just a good game. This is probably one of the beefier games on the list, but it's a campaign game, a legacy game. So you're going to be playing this with the same group of people over and over and over. So they're going to be familiar with the rules. And once you get through that initial first game, it's going to be like second nature. You're just going to play and move on. That's kind of what's going on. So this game is great. I can't wait to get through this 3rd campaign. Probably be enough there. 3 is probably enough. But yeah, with a whole bunch of plays, 24 plays. I said 35. 24 plays, sorry. Spoiler for number 135. My 24 plays, Clank Legacy. Number 2, Acquisitions Incorporated. All right, my number 1. I already spoiled the number of plays. It's 35 because I can't read. And that is The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. Now, caveat. I count every single hand of this that I play, which is basically a mission. Every mission that I play as a whole entire game. I'm not sure how you're supposed to do it. So probably it's been like maybe 8 or 9 game sessions that have come up with this 35 plays, but every time I play it 5, 6, 7 times. So however you want to count that, I don't care. That's how I'm counting it. And this is a cooperative trick-taking game. Most people know trick-taking, hearts, spades, euchre, all that kind of thing, at least from the Midwest. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to play these different cards to fulfill these different missions without talking to each other. So, for example, maybe the mission is one player has to collect all of the 4s or the pink 4 and yellow 4. Okay, one player has to do that. Everything else they take is irrelevant, but they have to do that. Now, the rest of the players have to figure out how to help that player do that without talking. You have a little token that you can communicate with once, but you put it on your card, say it's my highest, my lowest, my only, whatever. But outside of that, there's supposed to be 0 talking. And then you're trying to learn how, what people are playing, how they lead, all that kind of thing. It's really complicated if you actually do that no talking thing. I don't normally do that. We have very limited talking, but we do talk some. But it's a fantastic game. There's like 50 or 60 missions. There's a second version of this that's underwater. I don't know how that plays. I've never played it, but it's a similar vibe. And yeah, it's fantastic. Everybody I played it with loves it. Most people in Ohio, where I'm from, are familiar with trick taking. So you just got to teach them the nuances of no talking and how the missions work. So yeah, we played this a mess. I'm probably going to play it more at camp. It's a great camp game. 35 times. My number 1 is The Crew, Quest for Planet 9. All right, so those are my 15 most played games of all time since I've been logging them on BGStats. Again, there are games that I played a lot more that I haven't logged. So whatever. Take this list as what you will. I just wanted to do a video, talk about some games because we love games. And Katie's got it on board. That's kind of what it is. So, yeah, if you liked it, cool. Subscribe, like, do all that thing. Thanks for watching. And as always, keep gaming.